Wichita, Kansas market data, both local and national, is what I'm going to go over quickly. Hopefully in 10 minutes or less. I'm going to start the timer now to keep me on track. Before I get into all of that, please like, comment, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff to get to know Wichita and the local real estate market and national trends that do affect us. Even though we think these things don't affect us locally here in Wichita, they do still affect us. Maybe not as drastically, but they do affect us on everything. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen, show you the data, get right into that, and give you observations, insights, and strategies from there. So this gives you an idea of our historical data. 2021 is in red, 2022 is in green, and 2023 is blue. So what we typically see from that is history tend to repeat itself. So if you study the real estate market and want to understand the cycles of it and the seasonality of it, which we're very much going through a seasonality of real estate right now, going into November and December. As you can see, the number of closed listings goes down, not necessarily prices on everything. And so it's not that your home can go down in price, it's that it may not be the right time of year to sell, or it may take longer to get the price that it's worth and that you need out of it. And so you have to kind of like bunker down that, you got to ride it out type of a situation. Because just because your house isn't selling doesn't mean you have to sell it for less. And if you're a buyer looking at houses, it doesn't mean sellers have to sell for less. It just means they sit on that asset longer and they sit on that house longer, and they just have to wait for the right buyer in the right situation to come around for that buyer to buy the house. People aren't in a place where, especially 36% of people own their house free and clear. They don't have to sell this thing if they don't get the price out of it. Another 30% own their home with more than 50% equity. Again, those people are not in a financially strapped situation where they have to sell and they have to take a lower price. Americans are not over leveraged like they used to be in 08 or everything, when you look at the amount of equity they have in their home for everything. So there's a tremendous amount of opportunity and situations where they can wait it out. They can ride it out essentially. So they don't have to sell at a lower price. Just typically around the spring and summertime is when the higher priced homes sell. It's not necessarily that high-priced homes don't sell in the fall and the winter. They just don't happen as often then. They happen more often in the spring and the summer. So hopefully that helps you understand the economics of our local Wichita market and the seasonal cycles that go with that. Currently right now, I have like 5 active listings where it's like if they don't sell, we're probably going to be pushing into beginning of next year spring. And I have about 7 that we're lining up for the spring market of next year, that we've had the meetings, have the list agreements, everything signed, the plans ready to go, but then we're not exactly sure the date and the price we're going to launch at in the spring. But we do know we're going to launch like February, March timeframe, because if you look at when a good amount of listings close and when the activity returns to the market, it's right around this February, March timeframe, where like you can look at 2023 of January, we only have 528 units sold, and then 577 in February, and then in March it jumped to 813, and then April, it was kind of weird, it jumped back down to 728, and then May it jumped into 922. But typically it kind of follows this bell curve situation from the first quarter of the year to the second quarter, and the third quarter the most active on everything, and then it trails off into Q4 of everything. But at the end of the day, people are always buying and selling real estate, which I'll kind of get into those graphs here from our national data. When you look at over 10,000 homes sell every day in the country, divide that by 24, that's 452 sell per hour. 452 divided by 60, that's 8 each minute that homes are still bought and sold in the US. And that does still affect Wichita and everything. And typically these reasons right here is why people are buying and selling. Life reasons: births, people reaching 65 want to retire, cash out, which is a good amount of what we need to have happen right now. Deaths, marriages, divorces. These are all the life reasons that consistently produce real estate transactions with everything. We navigate the market, we navigate the interest rates, we navigate all of these different things, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's these life reasons that drive real estate sales that people will continue to be doing for the rest of time. Everything. It's just a matter of how and when and what that looks like. That might shape or change, but these life events are what spur real estate actions and activities from there. So that gives you an idea of what's going on there. But then if you look, let's go back to the local data real quick. If you go to the local data, again, this gives you an idea of when the most amount of homes sell on everything. So depending on your life situation, what you're trying to do, there's different ways to play every month of the year, depending if you're buying, depending on your selling, and when it makes the most sense. And that's where, as a dedicated like strategist that I have with you, like we apply a lot of strategy and a lot of thought and a lot of plans and intention to real estate, not just kind of winging it, open doors, being kind of that pretty ding dong door opener, as I call them, or just somebody who talks a lot and knows a lot of people, but doesn't really know real estate, doesn't really know how to play the game. That's not really our MO, our brand, our style of everything. So that gives you an idea of closed listings to base your strategy on. This is another one that's interesting to note is closed listings by price range. The majority of Wichita is in this $200,000 to $400,000 price range. When you look at these three triple digit opportunities of where most homeowners are transacting is in that $200,000 to $400,000 price range. You also have a good amount from the $50,000 to $100,000 price range. Those are really good rentals. Those are really good flips. Those are really good investments. They can be. I shouldn't say they all are, but they can be. And there's a good amount of those in Wichita where you can do that type of activity with all that. Just looking at the percentages of number of sales, type of sales, where the most meat on the bone is at is 200 to 400,000, highest probabilities. And then, kind of this other range of 50 to 100,000 of like investment flip type of properties over here. Let's see what else we got. So of the listings that are closing, what we're seeing, this isn't a drop in price. That's not what this is, as everybody's so scared and fearful of that. This just means the people who are buying are choosing to buy lower priced homes. It doesn't mean they're going in and getting $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 off of asking price. It just means they're opting to buy lower priced homes because the payments and the interest rates work out. And of the homes that are selling, they're lower priced homes. It doesn't mean the price of people's homes is falling. Because actually, let me scroll up to this. So October, we had a decrease of 6.2% from last year, but that's just the month of it. If you look at the total yearly situation of our market, is actually up, overall for the entire year. It's just this time of year, prices of homes that sell are lower than everything. It doesn't necessarily mean you can't get what you need out of your house. It's just like the 5 that I have right now that aren't getting the price they want. They're having to push into the spring market to get the price they want because we're holding strong at our price and our level, and we're not just giving in and selling at a lower rate, or just because somebody comes and offers us something lower, like doesn't mean we take it on everything. That is the choice on that, is that you can hold out for a better offer, hold out longer, ride it out, and hopefully you plan financially well enough that you can ride those things out and that you're in a strong enough, stable situation that you're not forced to sell for less, or in a dire distress situation where you do have to take a less than asking price. It doesn't help anyone else out in this entire thing, including yourself. So hopefully you financially planned well enough to not have to be in that situation on everything, and so that you can ride it out and get the price that you want. It just may take longer, which is really what we're looking at, right now for our market. Let's see what else we got. So that's number of listings closed. That's the price of listings closings. Average days on market, like I was saying, it kind of follows the opposite of a kind of a bow shape of everything. Obviously, listings have been on the market January and February are going to be longer because they've been sitting through the fall and the winter season and the holidays. And then as spring starts to come around, we see that average days on market drop, just because that spring and the summer cycle of everything is just such a prevalent trend that happens consistently every year. Part of this is because we all believe it and we buy into it and we operate that way, to be honest with you, is the truth. Most people prefer to buy and sell in the spring and the summer. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the best time. It just means it's the most active time, but you're also going to be having more competition, and you're going to be getting a more premium product, a more premium house, but you're also going to be paying a more premium price on everything. So that's something to also take into account. And I got 1 minute left to keep this under 10 minutes. Active listings by month is increasing, growing, something to keep an eye on. So there are more options coming out there. Average price of listings is coming down as far as just what's being listed on everything. Average days of market going up, but that's really been the same thing for the last 2 years. Going to see that again this year. And honestly, I see those normal seasonal demographic cycles going to continue to happen in real estate. So honestly, nothing too crazy, not too worried about it, even with everything that's going on. People are still buying and selling for life reasons. And I'll get into some of these national data points quickly because there's not a whole lot of it, just to understand, a lot of people around the rest of the nation, not so much Wichita because we have such an affordable price point market. It's pretty wild to see how much from January 21 to August 23, how much the average monthly mortgage payment has drastically increased from January 21 was 1,011 to August 23 is 2,234. So it's more than doubled on everything. So that's pretty wild to see how much this trend, especially on an average basis, has gone up of what people are paying and willing to pay for monthly mortgage perspective. This also gives you the perspective of why. It's because rates are just so much damn higher in 2023 compared to every other year, even 2022. And then you can see everything going back all the way to 2016 has all been kind of in this 3 to 5-ish range, where we've been spoiled really since 2016, if not more, of having historically low rates for a long time, that now 22 and 23 have gone on into the 6s and 7s and 8s range on everything. So that's a good piece of it. But at the end of the day, people still need to buy and sell and move on it all. Anyway, so that gives you kind of some perspective on it all. You know, people are still wanting to buy. They are still, like, the demand's still there, the desire still there. We see these rates get down into like a 6% in the spring. I think we're going to have a madhouse again on everything. One solution might be multi-generational living. It's definitely the greatest wealth transfer in the history of our nation, happening over the next 10 to 20 years, and seeing what could come of that from the boomer generation that holds 60% of the US's wealth, and what they're going to do with it. Either they pass away and pass it on. They help out the younger generations below them, either get a down payment, get into a house, they move in together. There's a lot of things that the boomer generation can do to help solve these problems with everything. And it's not so much the Gen X kids that's like my parents, it's the ones above that on everything. And it's some of them starting to get into that. So it's pretty interesting to see the demographics and the different trends going on with everything. I don't really think there's a few different financing things that FHA is coming out with that allow you to do some multi-family units to get in with lower down payments, multi-generational housing. Other than that, there isn't a whole lot going on. Some people are asking if an election cycle is messing with all this, and obviously no, not really. We see the data that it has a pretty insignificant data point on everything. The gap in net worth is definitely widening from renters to homeowners. And on another article, I don't have it up, I can show you how much wealth the boomers own compared to millennials own. And it's because a lot of millennials are renting. They have to rent. They can't get into a home. They can't afford to get into a home. And that's where the gap in net worth is widening. So there's got to be some transfers or some help along the way. So home equity helps foster new businesses. So you look at like how much tappable equity we have, and then U.S. small business applications, like this is a lot of the answer going forward is small businesses, business equity and personal real estate equity is where the silver lining is, the untapped gold mine in our country that needs to be worked through. So I'm going to stop it at that. That way we don't go too long with this thing, but hopefully that kind of helps you understand Wichita, Kansas market data from a personal real estate standpoint, also a little bit from a national standpoint, a little bit into boomer business equity on everything, which is an ongoing trend and theme that I'm seeing for opportunity to make things happen. Obviously, it's a lot more complicated, complex, but that's the gist of where the opportunity's at. And hopefully it's helped you learn a little bit more Wichita, a little bit more about real estate. Appreciate watching as always. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Shoot me a message if I can help you out, and hopefully we'll talk with you soon. See ya.